Gayatri mantra. Can we chant the Gayatri mantra? Because in north, the ladies chant, in the northern part of India. But in south, we don't chant. We are not taught by our elders. So,
Right. Yeah, for the reasons I had indicated, we discussed before. And so, if you want to learn the Smartha Gayatri, we can definitely, you let me know. Is that what you're asking? I don't know.
Yeah, yes, Guruji. That's what I was asking.
Okay. So, I can teach you that. We can do a small puja, initiation ceremony, and then we can do that. So those who are interested can join. What we'll do is, Vijay, if you can coordinate that. That is, those who want to learn the Smartha Gayatri, Yodeva Savita. So it can be women, it can be men who have not been initiated to, Sravata Gayatri, any of them. Because those who already are chanting the Sravata Gayatri don't need the Smartha Gayatri. So any of them can come. So we'll fix a time.
Okay. Thank you, Guruji. Dhanyavada.
Yeah. Haraprasad ji, go ahead.
You have to unmute Haraprasad ji.
Don't you hear me?
Yeah, now we can.
Yeah. Why Shuklacharya is called Ushana?
I don't know. I don't know why. Maybe somebody else in the class might know. Shukracharya Ushana. I need to look into it. Some story must be there. And Ushana word meaning we should look at. That can give us some clues. So right now I don't know Haraprasad ji.
Dhanyavada.
Yeah. Mahesh ji.
Yeah, I mean, in Amavasya Tarpanam, this Ushataha comes. When you do, I don't know the meaning, but I do this every month, every Amavasya. It comes, I don't know.
Repeat that again.
I said in Amavasya Tarpanam,
No.
when you do
that
the
particular word.
Ushataha, it comes. Amavasya. When you do the Tarpanam to Pitrus.
Okay. Ushan.
Before the actual Tarpanam, when you Avahanam and all, at that time it comes. I don't know whether the same thing, I don't know.
No, it's not the same thing because Ushan.
Because it is written the same way, Usha N. Ushan. So
Look. See, Ushana may have the same meaning. There, Ushan most likely doesn't mean Ushana at all. It doesn't mean Shukracharya. It has to mean, how did Kathopanishad start? What is the first mantra of the Kathopanishad?
Ushana, okay.
Huh? First mantra of Kathopanishad. What is it?
Ushan
Ushan.
Vaivajas Ravasaha Sarva Veda Sandadau. So Ushan, the person who is desiring. Who's desiring what? He is desiring Loka. He is finished with this Bhuloka. He wants next Loka. That is his promotion. He is desiring that kind of a promotion. And here Ushan. So the person who is doing the Tarpana, what is that person desiring? May be said in the mantra. In the before or after the Ushan must be said. I'm guessing. You can check and find out.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Desiring to offer
the
Aradhana to the Pitrus.
It says Ushan Ushataha Avishayatave, something like that. So
Ushataha is by the one who desires. Ushan is desiring.
Yeah. So I'll look into it. I just
Yeah.
but another question is, we say that Kavi knows past, present, and future, and we relate that to Shukracharya, who is the guru of Asuras, right? So how come so many wars were there? When he knew the future, and and still there were so many wars, and every one of them Asuras lost. As per the Puranas. And he was the guru of all the Asuras, right?
That means you can imagine. You can just imagine. If Shukracharya were not the guru of Asuras, it would have been a lot worse. It would have been a lot. We will not be here to talk about it. Thank God Shukracharya was the guru of Asuras.
And the third question I have is this. Vedavyasa, you said they gave to 4 Sishyas to do the 4 Vedas, right?
Yeah.
Can you tell me their names?
So, no, right now I don't recall.
Okay.
That is how it is said. I mean, Sanat Kumara, there is that of Dakshinamurti, etc. That is a different one. And then within, see, Yajnavalkya is there. And then there is Yajurveda. There are 2. I know the names of those 2, Yajnavalkya and I forget what. Anyway, that's a good question. Well, I'll find out and let you know.
Thank you. Thank you. Dhanyawada.
Yeah.
Also, there's another meaning for ocean. It means steam.
Okay.
So I don't know what is the connection. I'm just saying I know the word ocean. I have learned it. Ocean is steam also.
I see. Ushan. Okay. Shukracharya was angry man or something. We don't know. Yeah, Anuradha, go ahead.
Okay. Could you tell me what is the actual definition of grihastha?
Right.
Who are called grihastha?
Yeah. So, Griha is home. Grihe tishtati iti grihastaha. One who has a home. First of all, one who must have a home. Okay. And they don't trust bachelors in having a home because these fellows are unpredictable people. They will go wherever the wind blows, whichever way the wind blows. So our society doesn't trust brahmacharis. And so he's a agrahastha. He doesn't stay in the home. In fact, we know that. No children stays at home. They don't like the home at all. Then the minute they get married, then something happens. Some transformation happens, I think, in all the people involved. The woman comes, and woman is a sign of stability. And so she sets things up. And so this guy says, okay, now I think I can be at home and I should be at home. And so some logic there. But yeah, that Palana Karta, one who protects the home, one who makes the home, means both the couple, refers to both people, is a grahastha. And because it is a significantly different ashrama than the brahmachari ashrama, brahmachari alone, okay, and only job is to study. So first of all, alone, not alone. Then brahmachari's job is only to study. Grahastha's job is only study, not acceptable. The person has to, he has a family now, okay, must continue to study the Vedas. Yes, that is true. But has to protect the society also. Big responsibility is there. Suddenly he has to now get involved in politics also. Need not be political, but needs to know what politics are going on and make sense out of it, because this fellow has to go and vote. And so like this, that person has to be involved in the entire country is running. Therefore, this grasta is the central, he is the main, he or she is the mainstay of a society, we can say, definitely society. Because later on, Vanaprastha and then Sannyasa, these people are useless to govern the country because they are going off on a different track. But before they go into that track, then the Grahastha is the only person available. So, that's the overall understanding of Grahastha, Anuradhaji. Did you have something else in mind?
So, say somebody's husband dies and she is alone in the house. Will that be still a grihastha?
Good. So, question is, what happens if one of the married people pass away? So, see, in our culture, the way this is viewed is, okay, that person can remarry. Today, remarriage is there. Remarriage was there in those days also. It's not new or anything like that. Remarriage. But then our sannyasis, our gurus will say, you know what they will say? If you want to remarry, you are welcome to remarry. Or they will say, hey, your prarabdha, grihasthashrama prarabdha is over. This is all is meant for you. It could be a great thing. It could be a great thing. You can sit and cry. Okay, I can sit and cry. Or I can say the prarabdha is over. What is the next? Maybe this vanaprastha has come too early. Come a bit early. Good, you will have time now. That person can have time. That person who has lost the spouse can now have time because now grasta means no time. Grasta will not have time, period. This is why, of course, all of your grasta, so you know, no time is available because children are there, and then afterwards, all this whole thing goes on. And only after many years, the person says, I'm retired and I have some time for this and that. They say, but this person who has lost the spouse cannot say, I don't have time. Cannot say, I don't have time. Because what? Because, okay, suppose they have no children, etc. Then you do have no children and you cannot get any more children. And if you're not necessarily bent on having children and marriage and this and that, then Shastram says you are blessed. That person is blessed. Okay? It happens all the time. Because, this is there. And so, both ways they can go. So, I've seen Puja Swamiji advising people who are like this. I've seen it with my own eyes. This is what he will say. He will make an assessment. If the person feels helpless, then Swamiji might say, yeah, I think you can get married. You should get married, in fact. Remarried, right? Remarried. Because that person's mindset is like that. And without that, without some period of vivahita grasta jivana, that person cannot mature. And he will constantly be pining for that grasta ashrama. And so he will never be happy, he or she. And so for that person, yeah, go ahead, get remarried. So, but still, grasta is an ashrama only. It is not the ultimate. So, therefore, grasta for as long as we want. And if both husband and wife are mature, then nothing like it. They go their own ways and they become friends and then grow in the process. But if the person is alone, Shastram is always there for us. And see, sometimes what happens, karma they can't do. The Vaidika karma, both are needed to do. Both husband and wife are needed. But sometimes the married person who has lost their wife, for example, does karma. Sometimes they do karma also, Vaidika karma. But traditionally, it is not done like that. In the traditional families, you need both people because the wife has to approve. the samskara. And wife is not there, who is there to approve? So therefore, traditional people may not may say you're not qualified. You are kind of hanging, in between. They might say that. But hanging in between can be a blessing. That's what, as I said. So it has to be carefully understood. Good question though. Radhaji is asking a good question. What is the how is the single person looked upon in our society? Okay. Single person can be a taboo in Western society. In India, it's not that much of a taboo. It can be a taboo. Some people feel a bit, iffy if they're single. And because jnanam is there for us and people, knowledge is always worshipped. So single people with knowledge are always prized in our country, our culture. So we,
Just to let you know, I'm not one of those. I do have a husband.
oh, okay. No, that's good. But that's a good question. That's a good question to ask. Um, and so anyway, that's grahastha. Yeah, Satyaji, go ahead.
Is the root word for Turiya, Chaturya. That's why it's called the fourth state. Fourth state of
Can you
consciousness.
repeat the question? The audio is breaking.
The root word for Turiya, is it Chaturya?
Oh, root word for Turiyam. What is the root for Turiya? When we studied Sanskrit, I don't know the root word for Turiya, okay? When we studied Sanskrit, the word Chaturtham, when they taught us Turiyam is also Chaturtham. Like that they say. That word fourth itself has the synonym Turiya is there. So Turiya was used as the synonym for the number 4. Okay. Uh, the cardinal number 4. Fourth is called Turiya. But yeah, I need to look into the root. I don't know what the root of Turiya is.
The second is, if it is not a state of consciousness, what is it then?
Yeah, so if it is not a state, it is that which sustains a state. In a science, a state is something that can change. That which changes is a state. It doesn't seem to change now. Solid state, we say. Solid state. We used to study 3 states. I don't know what they teach these days. Solid, liquid, and gas. Like that they say. They're states because it's that is how it is. Air is a gas. Stone is a solid. It always remains solid. But we all know that a solid can be melted, etc. So that which has a particular form right now, a state right now, but which can change is a state. And so, by definition, in my definition, state means that which has the potential to change, but it's not changing now. In front of our eyes, it is not changing, but it has potential to change as a state. Therefore, Atma cannot be a state, Turiyam cannot be a state, Brahma cannot be a state, in my definition. And therefore, we don't use the word state at all. In your state of meditation, acceptable, because that I was not meditating before. Now I'm meditating. Therefore, I am in a state of meditation, meditative state. And then afterwards, what? Afterwards, somebody is going to tap me and say, enough, you have some work to do. And so, gone. Meditation state is gone. So, generally, Satyaji, we don't refer to Brahma as a state. Only our mind can take on various states.
But usually we say that wakeful state, dream state, sushupta state. So in that context, I am using the word state. It's a phase of consciousness.
Fair enough. Fair. That's okay. So, in other words, consciousness is what sustains all those phases.
Correct.
Awareness is what sustains the ease. That Satyam is what In fact, your name is Satya also. What a nice thing. Satya is what sustains all states.
Thank you.
Vaidyaji, go ahead.
Yeah. I wanted to say a couple of things. One was about our Foreign Minister Subramanian Jaishankar. So his father was also a very famous person. I remember, reading his articles, when I was a high school student and college student, because he used to be a strategic affairs expert, K. Subramaniam. And, he was an advisor to prime ministers, from different parties also, from Gandhi onwards to Vajpayee.
I see. Yeah.
Yeah.
Read a little about him.
Yeah. I think Subramanian Jaishankar is his eldest son. His name is Jaishankar, of course, right? So S. Jaishankar.
Yeah.
And he's really, he's really grounded in our culture. You can see that, and I'm really proud to see him as a minister in the Modiji's cabinet.
Yeah.
He was a foreign secretary right before ambassador to the US. So, the funny thing is, after he retired from the Indian Foreign Service, he joined the Tata Group actually as the public and government affairs, vice president or something like that. What a waste, right? What a waste of talent. But Modi ji picked him at the right time.
True, exactly. Correct, you're right. What a waste of talent. Correct, you're right.
Yeah, to be, serving a company when you have so much talent, you can serve the country. But, he's really doing a great job for us, right? Second thing I wanted to mention was, Anuradhaji's question about the grihastha and so on. One of the other terms, more traditional definition of a grihastha is, because this is a very traditional definition, especially in the days when Agnihotra and other daily duties, rituals were practiced. So the thing is, it was said that in those days, if the husband and wife they go out of the house, they have to go out of the house together. They should never, once they're married, right? They never go out of the house together. Always go out together, because the Agnihotra, the Agni has to be maintained. So even if they're traveling, for example, they have to travel together so that the Agni can be maintained and so on. And there were certain rules about how many days they can be outside the house, because they have to come back because Agni has to be maintained right from the day of marriage till they pass away. So there again, they are kind of bound by the house, so grihastha. But this is, some of these things that I've heard is, probably not as clear as it should be. But these are some things I've heard about the grihastha part. And then in your explanation, Jaykumarji, you were talking about how this can become an opportunity to learn the Shastras and progress. So there is a story you might have heard of this saint from Tamil Nadu. Her name is Avudai Akkar, who was widowed at a very young age.
Okay.
And then she came into contact with this great Mahatma called Sridhara Venkatesha Ayyawal, who is considered one of the trinity of the Bhajana Sampradaya.
Yeah.
And she became his disciple, and then she composed so many verses in Tamil about Vedantam. And so, so I would say she lived probably about 200 years ago, 250 years ago. But it is said that in Tamil Nadu, at least, or people who knew Tamil, women would get up in the morning singing her songs, Avudayakal songs, full of Vedantic import. And that's how they learned Vedantam themselves.
Yeah, my father talks about Ammalu Ammalu. So there is I saw her also in Guruji's ashram, and a lady who is a jnani, who is composing, she just comes out of her. And so I think the 200 years ago that you're talking about, that made me recall this Ammalu Ammalu. So my father knows a lot about. He was telling me about these things. Avudayakal. Okay. Yeah, I think that rings a bell. So you're right. So that those should be our inspiration for those who are in that category. But even otherwise, right? It has nothing to do with being married or not married. Technically, the study of Shastram should begin now. Okay, and yeah, the society should give right direction to people who lose their spouse at a young age. Okay, because I see a lot of confusion around that. So young, okay, maybe not 30, 40. Two children are there, person is 40. Then what do you do? Then confusion. Should I marry for the sake of my children? These kinds of questions, constantly they come up. Constantly they come up. So it's important. That's why every family, they should, that guru, they must be associated with an ashram or something like that. Otherwise, these kinds of questions will never get answered. Yeah, that's what I'm finding. In our ashram, we used to always ask Puja Swamiji all these questions. He's always available. Any question under the sun, he will answer. And so personal, community questions, Shastra questions, world questions, everything. So, good.
Yeah, I
Anything
think Taittiriya Upanishad also says something similar, right? Whenever you have a question about dharma, you go to that aluksha dharma karma sihu, etc.
correct. Dharma ka masihu yatha te tatra varteran yatha te varteran. They are doing things you do. Don't say I've studied all this Veda Padashala from Kumbakonam, I've come and all that. Don't show off your knowledge. Just follow what they're doing. It's a very important advice. Correct.
Yeah, and then it says that you can go and consult, right? You can go and consult on those questions, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not able to remember all the verses, but there's a verse that actually tells about that, right?
Yeah, yatha te tatra vatteran tatha tatra vattetah athabhyah akhyateshu ye tatra brahmana samvarshinaha. Where brahmanas get together, you go there. You go there and seek their advice. Samvarshinaha yukta ayuktaha aluksha dharmaka masihu. Twice it comes. Twice. Yatha te teshu varteran tatha teshu varthetah. I don't know why it comes twice. I need to look up the commentary. So, yeah. Anything else? Chat box, there are a lot of messages here. Uday card, okay. Okay, Subramanian.
Yeah, I sent a link to one of the YouTube videos that where Jaishankar is saying, about using our itihasas as a guide to modern diplomacy.
Right. So Vijay is saying Rigveda attributed to rishis such as Vashishta, Vishwamitra, and Narada. Yajurveda attributed to rishis such as Yajnavalkya and Uddalaka. Samaveda, Jaimini, and Vaijaspati. Okay. Atharva Veda attributed to Atharvan and Angiras. Okay. Yeah, that might be right because Atharva Veda, Mandukya, Atharva is teaching. Therefore, Atharva, the name itself, is appearing in the name of the Veda. Then Angiras is there because that lineage is mentioned in the Mandukya Upanishad. So we'll have to see. Yajurveda, okay, Yajnavalkya is very big. Vedaranyaka Upanishad it comes, which is in Yajurveda. Then Uddalaka. See, Uddalaka, Yajurveda. So that's it could be a different Uddalaka because our Chandogya Uddalaka is Samavedi. And therefore, this must be this Uddalaka must be different, which I have not heard of. Rigveda, Vashishta, Vishwamitra, Narada. Okay, I see. Yeah, I don't know. You need to look into this. Then arbitration. Okay. Ushana. Jay is saying Ushana is commonly referred to as Shukracharya because Shukra in Sanskrit means bright or clear. And Acharya means teacher or guru. The name Shukracharya thus refers to him as the teacher of brightness or guru of clear knowledge. Okay. That is the meaning of Shukracharya. Okay. Okay. So no connection with Ushana in terms of meaning. Still, we need to know what's the meaning of Ushana. Shukracharya is good. Yeah.
Guruji, Shukracharya had the knowledge of bringing the dead alive, right?
Yeah. I've heard that. Yeah. So I think he spent most of his time teaching all these things to his students, all these techniques, how to float, how to fly, all the siddhis, animadi siddhis, anima mahima chaiva, laghima garima thata, praptif prakamyam ishitvam, vashitvam jashta siddhayaha. So this is, I think he was an expert in all these ashta siddhi. I mean, he's an acharya, so we respect that. And an acharya can know so many different things. So he or she can choose whatever is the need of the time or whatever. So he ended up teaching all this. He must have said, don't harm people. He must have said, they must have said, you keep your knowledge to yourself. Don't advise us on these things. We did not ask you for advice. These kinds of. I think they must have said that. Okay, all right, we'll conclude. ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय धन्वन्तरये अमृतकलशहस्ताय सर्वामयविनाशनाय त्रैलोक्यनाथाय श्रीमहाविष्णवे नमः ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय धन्वन्तरये अमृतकलशहस्ताय सर्वामयविनाशनाय त्रैलोक्यनाथाय श्रीमहाविष्णवे नमः ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय धन्वन्तरये अमृतकलशहस्ताय सर्वामयविनाशनाय त्रैलोक्यनाथाय श्रीमहाविष्णवे नमः. Thank you.